Well, hello again, friends. My name is Doug Baus. I am Vice President for Client Services with Money for Ministry. And in this video, we're going to be looking at, again, message to the masses. So that orange quadrant in the strategy of everything you need to succeed in planned giving. And specifically, we're going to be looking at the channels of digital, events, and personal contact. So let's get started. And to begin, we're going to return to the marketing plan that we looked at in an earlier video. In that video, we were dealing specifically with the print channel. There's definitely a lot of content that is available to use in print. But of course, a lot of that same content can also be put into digital channels. And so we have some recommendations that we'd like to share with you here today. You can see here, the first is that you have the opportunity to use checkbox offers on your online giving donation page. These work very similar to the checkbox offers you might put on a print device, digital remit device. So for example, please send me a free copy of your special bulletin. Consider the power of your legacy. You would fulfill anyone who checked that box and made that request by sending them the special bulletin, which again is consider the power of your legacy. Here's a sample of that. Same as if they had requested it in print. This time it's coming digitally. Similarly, many of the ministries we work with have found it helpful to include a signature line as part of their email. Same offer for the same content. Again, we're just continuing to plant the seed and to make your donors aware that they can include you in their will. You can do a checkbox offer. You can do an email signature line. You can use Facebook and Twitter. For a free copy of Consider the Power of Your Legacy, click here or contact. And of course, you would insert your contact information. And then additionally, to bless your family with a God-honoring will, visit christianwill.org. And then you would include the URL that we've given you there for your ministry. One of the advantages of going digital is that you can cut down on some of the work for your staff. So for example, in this Facebook and Twitter example, you see click here. You have a couple of options with that click here button. One would be to take the donor to a contact form where they could give you their name, their email, and an opportunity to indicate the bulletin that they're requesting. This has the advantage that you're able to track who is requesting and how many times it's being requested. That can be helpful to some ministries if they have the time and the interest in doing that kind of tracking. Or you can go a much more simpler route, which is to direct people immediately to the Christian Will site that I mentioned just a moment ago. We're going to take a closer look at that in another video, but the Christian Will site has the advantage of we update content on the homepage for you monthly to coincide with what is scheduled for that month in terms of the planned gift messaging content. So for the month of, let's just take, for example, March, if that was scheduled to be the month where you would see the content, Consider the Power of Your Legacy, it would be on the homepage, just a little bit below the fold, but we can give you a link. You can actually take your donors directly there. They don't have to, you don't have to fulfill anything for them. There's nothing that needs to be done. Now, of course, it's much more difficult to track that and to gather contact information if you were to use that method. We also offer, again, this would be for, say, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what other social media platforms you are on. You can, of course, offer the special bulletin. But we include some memes, or maybe you'll just call them social media posts. And these two serve as awareness level planned gift marketing strategy. They're designed more or less to catch the reader's attention as they scroll through their feed and invite them to click to learn more. I have a sample here for you. In fact, I'm going to bring this one up right now. Each month, there are anywhere from 2 to 4 options that you can pick from. This one has a quote from Wayne Dyer. Generosity is a function of the heart, not the wallet. There's really a few different versions of that same quote. So depending on your personal preference, your brand, you have some different ways to express this. Now, sometimes people have said to me, well, Doug, this one actually mentions generosity. Sometimes they're even more general than that, but it doesn't say anything about planned giving. And I would again emphasize to you that these are meant to catch the donor's attention and perhaps inspire them, touch their heart, and invite them to click really to find out more about what this is about. This is awareness level marketing. So we're not targeting those who are already looking for planned gift content. We're actually targeting those who are not looking for planned gift content. It says here, copy and images for this month's meme will be delivered in, and then of course it would include the month in question here. The reason for that is because we give you a link that goes to your Christian Will site that is not live until the month itself. So unlike the rest of the content, which is delivered 4 to 5 months in advance, these memes, again, are delivered at the first of the month to which they apply. And that allows us to include that link for you. So let me share with you just a little bit more about what I mean. In addition to the image, you also will get some matching social media text copy. So copy for the post itself. So you would choose one of the pictures that I just shared with you, and then you would also include this text copy here, which really is a way to help them understand a little bit more about why that particular image and what they might expect to learn if they click that link. This one actually talks about donor advised funds. And here's that link I was referring to. If you were to, you would include that link either embedded in the image or as part of the post, and that invites the donor to go one step further. It actually takes them to your Christian Will site. And again, I've touched on this already here, but the memes are designed, or the social media posts, to entice the followers to request the bulletin, but in a bit of a fun, we'll just say softer approach. It's not meant to be about legacy giving specifically, but to invite the reader just to smile perhaps, or to become engaged, and maybe even to share again. We find that this soft sell approach is much more successful when done that way. All right. Finally, you of course can use any of the content that we provide as part of a blog post, an e-blast. It's a great way, especially if there's one you really like, if it's relevant to the season that you're in, to get the message out there. Let people know they can include you in their will with this inspirational faith and family kind of content. There's a lot of options for you to use with regard to the digital channel. I want to say just a little bit about 2 other channels that we regularly see our content get good traction in. This one would really be about events, and then lastly about personal contact. So some ministries use that full page branded special bulletin as a handout at events, at board meetings. Some of our ministries like to offer tours, say on a monthly basis, or they might have a town hall meeting or a monthly lunch. Great, anytime you gather donors in, say, a small group of 15 to 20, where you want to share vision and excitement for what's ahead, the future of the ministry. Maybe perhaps you've just announced or introduced a new executive director or president, and he or she is connecting with donors in these kinds of settings. A great opportunity to plant the seed for a gift in the will with that full page special bulletin as a handout. If you'd like to do more with events, we do offer some content on event strategy, specifically what kinds of events work best with legacy gift prospects. You can see here, and really kind of our bias is that you lead with inspiration and follow with information. So we're going to help you think about inspirational kind of planned giving events as opposed to say those terminology and techniques kinds of events where you might bring in an attorney or a financial planner. It's good if you have those folks to refer people to, but it's not necessarily the kind of thing that makes for a great event. And again, if you have questions and want to talk more about that, you can talk to me or your account manager. We'd be happy to help you think through what that might look like for you. And then finally, you can use any of this content as part of a personal contact that you might be having with a donor. So if you are a major gift officer or perhaps a mid-level officer and you are having regular visits or phone calls with donors, we'd invite you to use that full page special bulletin as a leave behind. Hey, by the way, as you're getting up to go, we had one of these new bulletins come out recently. I thought it would be a blessing. I thought it would be an encouragement to you. Would it be all right if I leave that here with you today? And then maybe perhaps you check back in 2 to 3 weeks. Hey, just wanted to see if that was helpful to you. If you have any questions for me about what was in that bulletin itself. Similarly, if you make a lot of phone calls, you can mail it as a follow-up to a phone call or email it. You don't have to be in person to use it in that form. We're so glad that you have an interest in promoting planned giving among all your donors. So often we find that ministries focus on their major donors only when it comes to planned giving, but there's so much opportunity throughout your file that when you plant the seed among all your donors, you open yourself up to so much more opportunity than you had before. Thanks so much for listening. There's a little bit more, some items here at the bottom of the marketing plan that you may be experiencing. So for perhaps some of the ministries we talked to, just because purely of demographic shifts, donor bases are shrinking as baby boomers age and pass away. The generation behind them is a little bit smaller. So again, planned giving can help you overcome that deficit. Planned gifts are, of course, very significant. The largest wealth transfer in history has begun. We've been talking about this for decades. We're really in the midst of it now. The Chronicle of Philanthropy in 2019 projected that between what was at the time 2019 and 2027, about $9 trillion will pass from one generation to the next. So the opportunity is immense. Don't miss out. And then lastly, we say donors prefer faith and family versus terminology and techniques. Or sometimes we say lead with inspiration, follow with information. We do have some informational content, and we'll be talking about that in a future video as well. And in case you were wondering, does this work? Our ministries tell us that, or actually donors tell us that the #1 prompt for new legacy gifts is the messaging they receive from the charities they love and support. So we hope this has been helpful, and thanks for listening.